Guys, it's Kugli again with another ROM review, and this time I've got the Validus version 16.1 beta for the OnePlus 3, so stay tuned for that. So guys, the Validus ROM is a ground zero project ROM, which is great. Now, previous Oreo ROM which I did was the Linux OS, and that was really great, and I have already said that that is one of the most accessible Oreo ROMs right now, mainly because of the encryption, and everything almost worked. There are no issues with that, and it does work out really well. Now, that ROM was based on the ground zero ROM, and that is why it was really great. It does have everything stable. There were a few issues which I encountered, which were because of the beta status of this ROM. Let's get to the Validus ROM, and being a ground zero ROM again, this is going to be just as good. This is going to be just as stable. One thing which this one has over the Linux OS is the features, and this is the first I would say more feature rich ROM on Oreo for our device as of now. I really like that. Let's get to the about phone page. In the about phone page, you can see it is OnePlus 3, so you can see it is Validus. There is an updater in here, so you can see in ground zero ROMs there are three, which is Tesla, Tipsy and Validus, and also there is ground zero OS, and that does work out really well. These two are the ones which are on Oreo right now, and ground zero OSP and Validus are on Oreo. This is the 21st release, which was released yesterday, I believe. I have been using it as soon as it was released, and I can pretty much say it is one of the most stable Oreo ROMs which I have used, which works out really well. This is going to be the first ROM which I can wholeheartedly recommend for people to use because it's really stable. I only had like one issue where the touch display did not work, but that's not a problem. I mean, it is still a beta, but I can still use it as a daily driver. Let's get to the other stuff. It is Android Oreo, so 8.0. It is having the October patches. The kernel is Cesium kernel, which is a well-regarded kernel in the Android space. As you can see, it is version 16.1 official. It is still beta, so do keep that in mind. Now, there is also something called features at a glance, so you can go to their web page and see what all they are there in the GitHub page. You can get that if you want to know what all stuff is available. Let's get to the other stuff. Now, as I've already said, this is one of the more feature rich Oreo ROMs out there because Oreo is just making it our devices, so this one actually does have a lot more features than I expected. Let's get to the features. Now, first of all the features are inside of this Fullscreen application, so you do have that. Let's get started. It does have app stops, so if you want to change permissions for a different application, you can do that. Button customization is available, but there is no hardware rebinding. You might have to use a third-party application for that. That's just there, but you can customize all of this. I really like that. Apart from that, lights can be customized for battery lights, and also notification lights you can customize for each application. Notification option, you can customize heads up display. You can have timeout and snooze timer if you want to. I normally keep it at 2 seconds and disable snooze. That's just my preference. App icon can be customized. Power menu can also be customized to have all of this. Now, if you're wondering, I am using a theme, and this one does support Substratum. Torch options are available. Screen off torch guard is available, so you can enable that, so that does work out. In the various options, you do have battery bar, so you can enable battery vibrate on plug for battery connector. That does work out. In the lock screen options, you do have lock screen shortcuts which you can customize, like left and right shortcuts. You can customize that. Weather options are available, but for some reason I could not get it on the status bar or on the lock screen for some reason. I'm not really sure why though. I have selected everything. I do use this one. It still comes out as disabled, which I'm not really sure why. I couldn't get that working, but that's just how it is. In the various options, you do have double tap to sleep on lock screen. That works out really well. I really like that. Lock screen info can be enabled, also media cover art can be enabled or disabled. In the status bar options, it does have a few options where you can customize the battery saver settings. You can select what color happens when you use that, so that is there. In the network traffic indicator, you can enable network traffic indicator. It isn't the fully featured one which we are going to find in Nougat right now, but it does have a threshold limit, so you can customize that, and also enable or disable that. In the quick setting panel, you do have a few more options. Like the quick settings, you can customize the number of rows and columns. Right now I am at my favorite one, which is this one, which is 7 rows 2 columns. It does have a picture-in-picture mode, which I personally could not really use, not really sure why. Also you can customize what all stuff is available, so if these all options are available. It does have caffeine, it does have compass, it does have PIP, which is picture-in-picture, night light is available, screen recorder can be enabled. All of these options are available and you can customize that. It is, as I have said, one of the more feature-rich Oreo ROMs available as of now. Now also you do have show tiles titles. If you don't want that, you can customize that. Quick pull down can also be enabled. QS footer warning and brightness icon in here can be customized. If you don't want that, you can just disable that. Should work out really well. The status bar options, you can customize what all stuff appears. There is sadly no VoLTE option, but VoLTE is working. I have made calls with that. It does work out really well. I didn't really have any issues with that. Various options, you do have customization for notification ticker if you want that. Also double tap status bar to sleep. Also you can enable the Validus logo, and also color can be customized, although style can be customized. You do have a few options for customization there. In the nav bar options, you do have nav bar, you can enable that. Now this is the same nav bar which we found in the last ROM, Oreo ROM, which I did, which is the Linux OS. It also has the pixel nav bar animation. If it is available, you can customize that. I personally don't use nav bar. Now in the navigation option, there is various options. I think it's a placeholder for more features to come. In the multitasking option, you do have gesture anywhere, you can customize that. Headset options are available. When you connect the option, you can customize or select what for the phone to do. In the recent option, you can enable icon pack. I don't have any icon pack enabled, but there are no other customization which I hope are coming, because I would like to have the clear all button on the bottom rather than on the top. And that much is it in the Wolf's Den options, and I've already said this is one of the more feature rich Android Oreo ROMs available for our devices, and I can only expect more features to come, and this is a start and I really like that. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 for features. Now the battery life. The battery life, as I would say, is not very pleasant. I got about 18% of active drain, and idle drain was much more than normal. I get about 2% of idle drain, 2 to 3% of idle drain, which is on the higher side, but that is to be expected. This is a beta ROM, but this is using a custom kernel, so I don't know what the problem is right now, but the battery life is not great on this one. It will be improving it sooner or later, and I am hoping it will be sooner than later. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10 for battery life. Now the performance of the ROM. The performance of the ROM is adequate. Got about 130,321, so this is the score. The first Oreo ROM which I selected or tested out had a great score. I'm still not sure how to categorize this, but I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 for adequate score in the performance department. Now the performance of the ROM in general is also pretty cool. I have been playing games, and even the GPU intensive test which this one has, the Antutu benchmark has, there hasn't been any issues for me. It works out really well. The animations were smooth, there were no jitters, so I hope all of the other stuff is also really cool. Now stability of the ROM is going to depend. There are a few things which is available. As I've already said, I did have one freeze where the phone refused to do anything else. I couldn't even restart it. I had to hard reset it, so you have to press your home button in for about 10 seconds and it will turn off. That did happen for me once. After that it just didn't have any issues. One more thing which I did notice was that inside the security options there is an option called quick unlock and Scrabble pin layout. If you enable quick unlock, for some reason it doesn't take a 6-digit pin. I use a 6-digit pin. I believe this is only for 4-digit, but it doesn't show any error or anything of that sort, so that's going to hurt me. I had to go into the recovery and delete the lock screen database file so that I can get it back into the phone. So that was something of a sore spot, but I think it'll be fixed in the later releases. So yeah, anyways, just remember that this is a beta build. If you're going to use this, do keep in mind that you might run into trouble. That's just how it is going to be. For stability, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 because I think this is stable enough to be used as a daily driver. One issue is not big of a deal, but I think it's going to work out really well. Now the camera does work out. It does come with the Oxygen OS camera, which is great. I didn't expect it to. Many features does not work. There is the zoom option which just makes a digital zoom. The HDR function does not work. Also HQ function does not work all the time. There has been a few jitters here and there where the camera would just freeze and doesn't take any photographs, but there are manual modes. There is pro mode, which works out really well. ISO doesn't work, but everything else does work out really well. And that's something which I am really excited about using, because it's been a long time since I've used a pro mode. Pro mode is not available in Gcam, but this is still not my primary camera application because I still use Gcam, and Gcam is working. I'm using the version 4.0 with all the recommended settings. Works out really well with the Nexus 6 HDR Auto. Works out really well. I didn't have much issues with that. I have been using this for quite some time. I have taken a few photographs, and it just works. I really like that. So I'm going to give it a score of 6 out of 10 for being adequate enough. Now the aesthetics, strangely enough, as I've already mentioned, I am using Substratum theme, and it works. I didn't expect it to work, but I am using the pitch black theme, which has a dedicated Oreo theme, so I am using that, but it didn't ask me to reboot or anything like that, so I'm going to assume it does have OMS support. And also Oreo is fresh. I do like the design language of Oreo rather than Nougat as of now, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for aesthetics. Now the overall experience. As I've already said, this is one of my favorite Oreo ROMs right now because it is something which I can wholeheartedly recommend. But again, this is a beta release. I wouldn't recommend this as a daily driver if you don't know how to get around issues. For a normal person who is on OnePlus 3, you might have gone through a couple of custom ROMs and you know a few things about it. This one is going to be a really great daily driver. I have been using this for about 2 days now. The only reason I'm switching is because I want more features. That's really a cop-out way to just end using a ROM, but I am really excited about this ROM, so I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 for the overall experience. Let me show you guys the boot animation, which is actually pretty cool. So here is the boot animation for the Validus ROM, and yeah, this is a pretty cool boot animation. As you can see, ground zero ROMs, Validus, there's the Oreo biscuit, and yeah. So yeah, I guess that much is it about the ROM then. This is going to be the first Oreo ROM which I have scored and which I have made an actual review of, because all the other Oreo ROMs I didn't think it was ready for prime time, and I still don't think this is ready for prime time. As I've already said, this is for people who are at least a little bit inclined to custom ROMs. When something happens, you know how to get around them. But I'm still going to grade it. The overall score is going to be, the final score is going to be 6.14. I'm gonna give it a 6.2 out of 10 because it is a great ROM. It does have its shortcomings because it is in beta, but I think it's going to be a really great ROM. It does have features. I really like the features which this one has offered to me, and I really like it. So yeah, I guess that much is it about the ROM then. Hope you guys liked the video. Please share, subscribe, and like the video if you found it useful. See you guys next time. Bye.